So you mentioned that you were curious about Billy Clapper.
I was. I mean, after seeing him on Yellowstone,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, Yellowstone. Well, get ready because we're going to take a deep dive into the life of a true cowboy legend.
Sounds good.
His story goes way beyond just a brief appearance on that hit TV show.
It does.
This guy was a renowned spur maker from Pampa, Texas.
Tampa, Texas. Wow.
Dedicated his life to a craft that's slowly fading away, making these single-piece cowboy spurs.
Really, it's incredible, isn't it? Like this bridge between the bygone era of cowboys and the modern world,
I know.
keeping those traditions alive.
And what's so interesting to me is his path to even becoming this legendary craftsman.
Right.
It wasn't a straight shot.
It wasn't.
Clapper had to make some tough choices,
Yeah.
balancing his love for the cowboy life with the realities of providing for his family.
Well, and that's what makes his story so relatable, you know?
Yeah.
It's this theme we see woven throughout his entire life, a deep respect for that cowboy way of life, but also a pragmatic understanding of its limitations in a changing world.
100%.
Like, you can't deny the economics of it, right?
Exactly.
Things change.
So let's rewind back to the beginning.
Go.
Billy Clapper, born in 1937.
Go.
And it seems like he was practically born a cowboy.
Yeah.
Started working as a ranch hand in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that love for that cowboy life in everything he did.
Oh, yeah, you have to understand the context of that time, too.
Oh, for sure.
Ranching, it wasn't just a job.
No.
It was an identity.
Totally.
Like, it shaped everything about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting.
So then Clapper meets this guy, Adolph Bayers.
Okay.
Bayers was a famous bit and spur maker,
Oh.
those metal pieces that are used to control a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And meeting Bayers was like a light bulb going off for Clapper.
Really?
Suddenly, he's fascinated by this craft of creating these essential cowboy tools.
Like, he discovered a hidden talent,
Right.
a new way to connect with the cowboy world,
Yeah.
but through artistry.
And craftsmanship.
That's neat.
And it just takes off like wildfire.
Wow.
In 1966, while he's still working as a ranch hand, he makes his first pair of spurs.
Yeah.
Word gets around, and boom, demand explodes.
That really speaks to the quality of his work right from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And just the respect that he must have earned immediately within that community.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But here's where things get really fascinating.
Okay.
Clapper finds himself at a crossroads.
Oh.
He's got this deep passion for cowboying,
Right.
but the orders for his spurs are piling up.
I can't keep up.
He can't keep up, and he's got a family to support.
Right.
Ranching, it wasn't exactly a path to riches.
No.
Let's be honest.
It's that classic dilemma.
Yeah.
Passion versus practicality, right?
Yes.
Like, how do you make it work?
I know.
And for Clapper, the weight of responsibility, I
Yeah.
can't imagine
I know.
having a wife and kids to think about. It changes things.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just you anymore.
And he really felt that responsibility.
He did.
There's this quote from him
What do you say?
where he says, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I loved cowboying, but there's no money in it.
Yeah.
I had to think about putting food on the table for my family.
And that choice, that's got to be a difficult one,
Oh, I'm sure.
But it really showcases his character,
Yeah,
putting his family's well-being ahead of his own desires.
I agree.
That's a true testament to his values, I think.
For sure.
100%.
But he didn't just settle.
No.
He fully embraced spur making,
Really?
realizing it was another way to stay connected to that world,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't out on the range.
It became his art form,
I love that.
his way of contributing to a culture that he obviously loved.
Mm.
And in doing that, he unintentionally became this guardian of, a fading tradition.
Exactly.
Wow.
So he makes this tough decision, and his spur making business, it just skyrockets.
Takes off.
Takes off.
Good for him.
He becomes known as this last cowboy spur maker, crafting these incredible single-piece spurs that cowboys everywhere wanted.
That's when the legacy really starts to emerge.
Yeah.
It's not just making spurs.
Yeah.
It's preserving a skill, a way of life, a connection to the past.
And what's amazing is that it wasn't just local cowboys.
Oh, so it wasn't just Texas.
No, not just Texas.
Wow.
Ranchers and cowboys from all over the world wanted a pair of Billy Clapper spurs.
International recognition.
Internet.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
His work, it went beyond borders.
Totally.
It resonated with anyone who appreciated the artistry, the tradition embodied in a well-made pair of spurs.
Yeah.
A real testament to the enduring appeal of authentic craftsmanship,
100%.
Things made well.
And then, of course, comes Yellowstone,
Right.
which we talked about.
Yeah.
The show features his spurs, solidifying his status as a living legend.
It's such a bittersweet moment, though.
It is.
Sadly, he passed before he could see the impact of that recognition, right?
It really is, yeah.
Wow.
It makes you think about timing, you know?
It does.
Sometimes that recognition comes later than we hope,
It does.
but it doesn't diminish the significance.
No,
It can still have a really powerful impact.
that's true.
And his passing brought this wave of tributes from the entire cowboy community.
It did, didn't it?
People remembering him as, you know, a true cowboy, a genuinely good person, a friend to everyone.
His obituary actually captured it perfectly, I think.
Oh, how so?
It said, Billy put the Western in Western heritage for years, and now he is a part of the heritage.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is. His legacy goes way beyond the spurs themselves.
It does.
It's about the values that he lived by,
Totally.
the craftsmanship he dedicated himself to, and the impact he had on everyone around him.
It's a powerful reminder, I think,
Yeah.
that sometimes the most meaningful legacies are built not on grand achievements, but on quiet dedication to a craft,
I love that.
to a community, and
Yeah,
a way of life.
I agree.
It's beautiful, really.
Now, we've talked about his personal journey from, you know, ranch hand to this world-renowned spur maker.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's a bigger story here,
I think so, too.
something that connects to all of us.
Absolutely. Clapper's dedication to his craft, I think it reminds us of a time when things were made with a level of care and skill that's honestly becoming increasingly rare.
That is so true.
We live in a world of mass production now, you know?
I know.
Handmade goods are almost a novelty these days.
That's such a good point.
It is.
It's like we're losing touch with the value of things made with real skill, you know,
True.
with that attention to detail.
Totally.
And I think that's one of the things that resonated with people when they saw his spurs on Yellowstone.
Oh, interesting.
You know, they were seeing something authentic,
Right.
something real in a world that can often feel artificial.
There's a tangible difference
Yeah,
between something that's mass-produced versus something that's been crafted by hand,
for sure.
infused with the maker's passion and expertise.
Right.
Each piece becomes unique, imbued with a story.
And that makes you think about what we're losing as these kinds of trades disappear.
It does.
It's not just the objects.
No.
It's the knowledge,
Right.
the traditions, the
Mhm.
stories that are passed down
Exactly.
through generations.
It raises such an interesting question, you know.
Yeah.
What skills and traditions are being lost in our world today?
I know.
What knowledge are we in danger of forgetting?
That's a great question.
And what does that loss mean for us, both individually and as a society?
Wow. It makes you think.
It really does makes you think, doesn't it? Like, we're surrounded by all this technology and innovation,
Yeah,
but are we losing something essential along the way?
that's the question, right? And I think Billy Clapper's story really helps us to see that.
Yeah.
So let's look at some other trades that have maybe faced similar challenges.
Okay.
Like think about blacksmiths, for example.
Blacksmiths.
For centuries, they were essential, right? I mean, they made everything.
Oh, yeah.
From tools and horseshoes to weapons.
But then as industrialization took hold,
Right.
that demand for their skills, it just dwindled.
And it wasn't just blacksmiths, right?
No, not at all.
Like wheelwrights,
Yeah.
coopers, saddle makers.
So many trades.
It's so many trades that were once central to daily life
Right.
have become increasingly rare.
And with each one that sort of disappears,
Yeah.
we lose a piece of our history,
Yeah.
a connection to the way things were made.
It's like we're becoming disconnected from the process of creation,
Totally.
from that understanding of how things are made and the skill required to make them.
Exactly. And that disconnect can really impact how we value those objects.
Yeah.
And even the people that create them.
Let's go back to Clapper and Yellowstone for a second.
Okay.
You know, those cowboys on the show, they were drawn to Clapper's spurs.
Yeah.
Not just for their functionality,
Right.
but for what they represented.
They wanted that authenticity.
Yes.
You know, something real in a world that can feel so superficial.
Exactly.
Like that longing for a tangible link to the past,
I agree.
to a time when things were built to last, you know,
Yeah.
made with care and a deep respect for materials.
100%.
That's interesting.
So that brings us back to this idea of legacy.
It does.
Clapper spurs, they're going to continue to be worn, traded, cherished,
They are.
each pair carrying a piece of his story.
Think about it. Every time someone puts on a pair of his spurs,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just wearing a piece of equipment.
Right.
They're tapping into a legacy
Totally.
of craftsmanship, tradition, and that deep connection to the cowboy way of life.
It makes you think about how objects become imbued with the stories of the people who created them.
It really does.
It's like there's an energy, a
Yeah.
soulfulness that gets transferred from maker to object.
Yeah,
And that energy resonates with people,
it does.
even they don't consciously realize it.
Totally. And that's what makes his legacy so enduring.
Mhm.
It's not just about the objects themselves,
Right.
but about the values they represent.
I
Hard work, dedication, authenticity, that connection to the land and the cowboy way of life.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Those values, those are timeless.
They are.
They resonate with people,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their background or whether they've ever even been on a ranch.
That's what's so powerful about this story, right?
Mm.
It's a reminder that there's still a place for craftsmanship,
Totally.
for authenticity,
Huh.
for things made with care and intention.
Yeah.
It's such a counterpoint to the disposable culture that we often find ourselves in,
I agree.
caught up in,
So true.
that kind of cycle.
It's about slowing down,
It is.
appreciating the process, and understanding that value as
Totally.
things that are built to last.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that the things we create,
Mm-hmm.
the work that we do, the values we live by,
Yeah.
they all contribute to our own individual legacies.
Wow, that's such an interesting thought.
It is, isn't it?
Like, we so often think of legacy as something grand and monumental.
Right, like a statue or something. But maybe it's more about the small everyday choices.
Yeah.
It's not about seeking fame or recognition,
Yay.
It's about quiet dedication to a craft, a community,
Mm-hmm.
a way of life, that impact we have on the people around us.
It's about living with intention,
Yeah,
being present in each moment,
totally.
and finding ways to make a positive contribution,
Absolutely.
however small it may seem.
And sometimes it's about recognizing that our passions can lead us down unexpected paths,
Oh, for sure.
just like they did for Clapper.
Yeah.
He didn't set out to become a world-renowned spur maker.
Right.
He was cowboy first.
Yeah.
But when he found this craft that resonated with him,
Yeah.
he embraced it
He did.
fully.
And he found a way to merge that love for the cowboy life
He did.
with his talent for creating these beautiful, functional objects.
Absolutely. And in doing so, he not only provided for his family,
Right.
but also preserved a piece of history.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most fulfilling paths are the ones that we don't expect. The ones that challenge us to grow and learn,
Totally.
to step outside of our comfort zones.
It makes me think about something Clapper said once.
What was that?
He talked about how he never considered himself an artist.
Really?
He just loved making spurs.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make the best spurs that he could.
And that dedication,
Shows.
it shines through in every single pair
It does.
that he created.
It's a reminder that true craftsmanship isn't about ego or recognition.
Yeah.
It's about the pure joy of creating something beautiful and useful.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's about leaving a mark on the world,
Right.
even if it's just a small one.
Yeah.
Clapper's spurs are a testament to that.
I agree.
They'll continue to be worn and admired
Hmm.
long after he's gone,
Yeah.
carrying his story and his legacy.
Yeah, it is amazing to think about how those spurs will outlive him, carrying his story forward.
And it's not just physical objects.
Right.
It's the intangible things, too.
Yeah.
The stories, the knowledge we share, the way we inspire others.
It's like those ripples in a pond, They spread outward, touching the lives of people we may never even meet.
That's a good way to put it, the ripple effect.
Yeah.
It all comes back to connection, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
The maker and their craft,
Yeah,
an object and its story,
right.
and then us as individuals
Mm-hmm.
across time and space, all connected.
We really are all part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
We are.
I mean, Billy Clapper, he lived this, relatively quiet life in Pampa, Texas.
You did.
But his dedication had this ripple effect that's reached people all over the world.
And that's what makes his stories so inspiring.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have that potential
Mm-hmm.
to leave a legacy, make a difference, no matter what our background is or our circumstances.
It's not about these grand gestures or seeking fame. Right.
No, not at all.
It's about finding something you're passionate about and pouring your heart and soul into it.
100%. And it's about recognizing that our passions can change over time, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Clapper, he didn't start as a spur maker.
Right.
Cowboy first and foremost.
Yeah.
But when he found this craft, it resonated with him,
Yeah,
and he embraced it
he did.
fully.
Yeah, he found a way to merge his love for that life with his talent for creating these beautiful objects.
And in doing so, he provided for his family,
Right.
but he also preserved a piece of history.
I think it's a good reminder that sometimes those most fulfilling paths are the ones we don't expect. The
Totally.
ones that challenge us to grow,
Yeah.
learn, step outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the life of Billy Clapper,
Right.
I think there's a lot to take away from his story.
A lot.
He was a testament to the power of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
dedication, and that enduring spirit of the cowboy.
Absolutely. He showed us that it's possible to live a life filled with passion,
Yeah.
purpose, meaning even in a world that's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And he reminded us that the things we create and the values we live by, they have a ripple effect
Yeah.
that extends far beyond our own lives.
Billy Clapper may be gone,
He is.
but his legacy lives on.
It does.
And those countless spurs that he crafted,
Mhm.
in the stories that are shared about him,
Yeah,
and in the inspiration that he continues to provide.
so true.
I think so too.
So next time you see a pair of cowboy spurs,
Yeah.
take a moment,
Hmm.
appreciate the craftsmanship, the history, the human story behind those objects.
And let Billy Clapper's story inspire you.
I think he would want that,
Yeah.
to find your own unique way to make a mark on the world.
Yeah.
Embrace your passions,
Mhm.
hone your skills,
Yeah.
and live a life that leaves behind a legacy worth remembering.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I think that's a great place to end our deep dive
Yes,
into the life of Billy Clapper.
I agree.